Hi, everybody, and welcome to the season finale of our Lunch and Learn series. My name's Robin Aitken, Product Manager for EasyAsk, and we're going to look at what some of the things that we covered, a quick recap, plus we're going to get a sneak preview of version 18 of EasyAsk. So with that, I'll just jump through a few housekeeping bits and pieces. As I say, I'm Product Manager here. My email address is on the screen if you need to get in touch. We're going to try and keep this nice and short so we don't use too much of your valuable time. And at any time you can ask a question. There should be a question box on your screen. So if you type a question in there, and we'll go through those at the end of the webinar. So in terms of what we've covered this year, in January, we started with looking at how you boost and bury products. So changing the default ranking of products. So if you want to push a certain brand, use business rules to do it, showing more profitable items first, perhaps burying things like products that have got missing images, or any other needs that you might have to push products up the natural order. And in February, we looked at categories versus attributes, and this was quite an important topic for many of you. We went through the best practice. We looked at what are categories, or what they should be, what is an attribute, and how the design of your category structure can affect search and obviously the results. In March, we looked at how you would set up campaigns and use a campaign to define a time period, to set limits, a beginning and end, and then how you could use your business rules, your promotions and attributes, and how you could link those to the campaign. So if you wanted to set up a kind of Easter specials, we showed you how to do that. And in April, we covered what is a really big topic, and we may do this again, but it's all about creating new attributes. And a lot of storefront customers have really varied numbers of attributes. Some of you have hundreds of attributes, some of you have none or very few. But with EasyAsk, you can create new attributes on the fly with no IT involvement. And it gives your users new ways to browse or find products. It can also be used to hide things like bad data or inconsistencies in the data. Example on the screen, if you want to set up an attribute value of 1 gallon, you can link that to all the products where the product might call it 1 gallon, or it may call it 1 GAL, or 1 gallon, and so on. So attributes are a great way of hiding all those inconsistencies and presenting a single value. You can use them to react to events, and obviously COVID was a prime example of that, and a number of our customers created a COVID attribute in order to highlight products that were relevant to the pandemic, such as masks and sanitizer and so on. If you've got attributes with too many distinct values, then you can use attributes to consolidate those into kind of family groupings. So for example, defining red as meaning red or pink or cerise or burgundy, etc. If you've got a lot of names that really all mean one thing, you can use attributes to get around that. And you can also use it to expose really useful information from your product descriptions. So the example on the screen of SPRC mint spruce was a real example from a customer I was working with recently, and they were selling timber, and SPRC meant spruce. And there were all sorts of other acronyms. So we were able to pull out the material attribute and simply set up a rule that said anything with SPRC in the title is linked to spruce. So the user will see spruce and can click on spruce the same as they could for cedar, which was CDR, and all the other acronyms. So attributes are a really, really powerful facility, and we may do another webinar on that, just because there's such a lot to cover. All of these webinars that we've done are available on the EasyAsk YouTube channel. But before we go into looking at version 18, I'd just be interested to find out how many of you have been on our Lunch and Learn sessions. And so there's a quick poll, which I think Matt should be sending out. Yeah, I can see a little message saying the poll is open. And we'll just give you a few seconds just to answer that. It'd just be interesting to know whether you're regular attendees or whether this is your first one. Have you got any results yet, Matt?
Yeah, for most people, this is not their first. They've been to quite a few of ours, 2 or more. We have a couple people that this is their first time. So we appreciate everyone for joining in on this poll. And thank you for everyone who stuck by for a few of these, and welcome to the people who this is their first one.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for those of you that do keep coming back. Hopefully you are learning something. I'm going to move on now, but we're going to have a sneak preview of version 18. And version 18 is the next release. In EasyAsk, we go up in jumps of 2. So the current version is version 16. I know many of you may be on 14 or even 12 if you've got an old Storefront, but 16 is the current, and version 18 is the next release. And we're planning on releasing it towards the end of the year. We haven't set an exact date yet, but it's going to be in Q4, probably nearer the end than the beginning. The kind of major features that I want to highlight, though, are things like contextual business rules, cascading business rules, landing pages, which we've been asked for a lot. We've got a new superuser role in Studio, and for some of you that would be very useful. There's more analytics, and there's a whole load of other stuff, and I'm not going to go through everything. I just want to show you some highlights. So firstly, contextual business rules are business rules that can be limited so that they only apply in a specified context. And that context can be virtually anything that you can specify. So it could be any combination of searches, clicks, whether that's categories or attributes. And you can say, at that stage, in that context, this business rule will apply. Or you may want to set a context based on words that the user has used in a search. So for example, when the user uses the word sale in a search, you may have different business rules than when they don't use that term. And so you may want to promote products within a sale context that you don't want to promote in any other context. I'm going to jump into Studio in just a moment and show you how these things can be set up. So I will be demonstrating this to an extent. Cascading business rules are a great way of setting up groupings of products that where you need to have some priority. So for example, if you sold power tools, you might say, and I know that some of our suppliers actually do this, we always want to show the DeWalt tools first. And then after that, we'll show the Makita tools. And then after that, we'll show the Milwaukee tools. And then after that, everything else. And you can do that obviously within a context as well. So these things can be combined. But previously, to set up the rules to show DeWalt followed by Makita, followed by Milwaukee, followed by everything else, would have taken 3 rules. And it was something that we used to try and cover in our training sessions and our concierge sessions, but it was fairly complex to do. Now you can create a single rule which looks just like I put on the screen. You simply specify the groupings in terms of a search and separate them with that double chevron. And EasyAsk will figure it out, and those products will certainly get their business rule score increased according to where they are in that list. And if they're not in that list, then obviously they're not affected and end up with no increase in score. Landing pages, we've been asked about quite a lot in the past, and we decided that it would be good to give you the facility to create landing pages within EasyAsk Studio. And a landing page is typically just a page that is the target page for a campaign of some sort. It may be that you sending out an email to your customers, and they click on a link, and it takes them to a specific URL, which is your landing page. And on that landing page, you may want to show a set of products. You probably have some other information as well. And that landing page can be any format. The Studio allows you to define the landing page in terms of the products that can be put on it, the content that you want to include with the product. So that could be any content. We can link to EasyAsk banner system, and the banner system allows you to put any content in. It doesn't just have to be a banner. And you can also specify the name of a template that you want to use. So if you've got templates for different look and feels, then you can actually specify the name of that template, and all of that will get passed back when the landing page API is called. And obviously there is a new landing page API which we've defined. In terms of the products that you want to put on your landing page, they can either be a static list of product IDs, or they can be a dynamic definition, a search or a browse. And I'll show you how we do that in just a moment. There is a new super user role in Studio. I'm not going to say much about this because it's aimed at experienced developer type people, and it's going to be highly restricted because it does allow access to things which, if you change and you don't know what you're doing, you could upset your search system. But the beauty of it is it does mean that experienced consultants can make changes to your system that previously they couldn't do without having to download parts of your system onto their computers and then use specialized tools. So we've enabled that through the Super User Studio role. In terms of analytics, we've added a new dashboard, the Insights dashboard, which I'll show you. We've also added the facility to zoom on all the line charts so that you can zoom to different date and time ranges. You can also schedule your ad hoc report. So if you're using the ad hoc reporting system, which I know not many of you do, but if those of you that do, once you've got a set of results, if you like the report you produced, you can simply click on a link and add it to the schedule to be produced on a monthly or weekly or any other basis. And there is a new canned Studio report, the top suggestions, which simply shows you the suggestions that ought to be interesting to you for whatever reason. There's lots of other stuff in version 18, such as the hide on blur option for search as you type. And all that means is when the cursor moves off of the search as you type box, you have the option of automatically hiding it. At the moment, it sticks there until you click somewhere else. One thing that we've been asked for by several customers is the ability to change attributes so that if the user chooses more than one attribute value, instead of ORing those things together, you can AND them together as well. So that's going to be something that you can configure in Studio. In the example I put on the screen, in a normal mode, if I clicked on backpacking and then clicked on camping, I would see products that were classified as either of those. So they would be backpacking products, and they would be, or they would be camping products. If we change that to an AND type operation, then we will only find products that match both of those if they're selected. And that was what several of you asked for. The example, if I can remember, was that there was a specials attribute, and there was a sale option, and there was also the latest editions option. And products may appear in both of those. And the ability to choose the latest editions that are also sale was the example that was given us. For B2B functionality, obviously numeric units are really important, and we've added support for multiple units that you can specify to be equivalent, and they will generate additional forms of the measurement when we match onto one of them. So for example, if we specified the inch and inches and the double quote character and IN were a measurement, then EasyAsk will automatically find matches to things like 6" with the double quote character, 6IN, 6INCH, 6 space inches, 6 space IN, and so on. So they can be typed with or without a space. EasyAsk will match them all back to one common form, and no matter how you've described them in your data, you may have inconsistencies in the data. If the user uses one of those forms, then it will match. So it means that you don't have to create synonyms to do all those sorts of things, which is how many users would have done it in the past. There's an enhanced Studio Store preview application, so that's been extended. The ability to preview mega menu type options, which you can configure in Studio as well. There's various performance improvements and obviously fixes, and all the EasyAsk APIs have been extended so that you can access this new functionality. There's a lot of other stuff, email security and so on. And we will be producing detailed release notes a bit nearer the time that identifies every single change. But that's the kind of summary. And of course, version 18 is backwards compatible with previous versions of EasyAsk. So you can run version 18 on your version 16 or 14 dictionary. It will automatically upgrade it. And any features that you're not using, then they simply get ignored. So it's very, very straightforward. And I'm just going to jump in and show you a few of these things now. So this is the version 18 Studio. The colors are probably going to change. This is because this is a development version. But one of the things you'll notice is that the menus have been moved up on the screen. That just gives more space for the kind of working area. And things like the quick pick and log out have been hidden behind the user icon. This this interface is essentially the same as before, with just a few little changes and obviously the extra functionality. And I'm going to jump straight in to the business rules, because these, I think, are one of the most powerful changes. And firstly, contextual business rules. And if I just scroll down a bit, you'll see that I've got a rule that has got a context. And so the rule is simply to boost shoes. And there are 194 products. But if I double click on the context, you'll see I've got the ability to choose where that rule will apply. And to do that, I can click on the little magnifying glass, and it puts me into a preview, and I can simply go to any part of the system. I could do a search. I could click on attributes. I can do any type of navigation in this application. I'm just going to click on sale. Maybe let's go to men's sale. And as you see, the mega menu preview is showing up here as well. But if I choose men's sale and then click on done, and now I click on OK, shoes are only going to be promoted above other products when we're looking at the men's sale. And that context can include anything. So if I just double click on that, you'll notice that there is a terms box. So you could put in a search term, and if you did that, then that would be part of the context. So you could remove this context and add a search term so that if somebody typed the word sale, they automatically would see the shoes first. If they didn't use the word sale in the search, then that business rule doesn't apply. There are lots of situations I know where context has been important to business rules, and it's been difficult to achieve that in certain circumstances. So hopefully you will find this really powerful. The other change we've made to business rules is the ability to cascade them. And here's an example of a cascading business rule, where what we're saying here is that adult products always come before boys or girls products, which come before toddlers, which then come before anything else. And I think the other one was infants, but no need to specify the last one. And notice in the preview at the bottom, EasyAsk has broken out each segment of this and is giving you 3 previews. So I can see the adult refers to these 1153 products, boys and girls and toddlers as well. And I can click on these to see what they are. And there is another example here, quite common in certain circumstances. You know, we always want to show jackets before vests, before clothing, before equipment, if they are relevant. And again, remember, business rules only applies within equally relevant products. And so if I did a search for equipment, then obviously the jackets, vest, and clothing aren't going to come into this anyway. Let's look at a landing page definition. And we've got a new subsystem for landing pages. And these aren't very pretty at the moment. And when we fill out our demo system, we'll show you what it looks like on the front end. But in the back end, we're simply giving the page a name, and it can have a description. We can associate banner with it, and that banner will link back to the EasyAsk banner, which contains any content. We can create, we can specify the SEO path related to it. And something that isn't on here yet, but will be when the product is released, is the name of the template that you want to use for the landing page. But the crucial part of the landing page is what products do you want to show on it. And we've got two examples here. The first one is we've simply specified product IDs, and we can do that rather easily by clicking on select, and we are then taken into the catalog in our preview application. And if I want to go and add some backpacks, for example, to this landing page, I can simply go in and choose the backpacks that I want on that landing page. Now, those 3 products are now added to that static list. If I wanted to clear out, I could simply remove those and then do the process again. But this approach means it's very, very easy to browse several times through your catalog to pick out possibly disparate products and to link them together in a single landing page. These are static, however. So because we're using product ID, it's this specific set of products that will be on that landing page. The other example is using a search. Now, if I select, I'm in equipment backpacks, but if I want to change that to be men's and jackets and insulated, I can do it just like that. And because I haven't checked specific products, this is now a dynamic path to the products that will appear. So whilst there may only be 20, 30 products today, if we add more products tonight, they will automatically get pulled in if they are in that classification. So finally, I just want to show you the Search Insights report. And Search Insights is really powerful because it starts by showing you your top searches in the bottom left. And you know, I can choose to filter those by how many words there are. So if I'm looking to see, you know, how many long tail searches am I getting, I can filter by simply changing that n-gram size parameter. But if I click on one of these, I will see a graph showing how many searches there were. And I can also, because of the new zoom functionality, I can drag a box over an area I want to zoom in on. So if I want to see real detail, I can see, you know, where the peaks are. And if I just go back and change that to all and go to something like gold, you can see I've got certain peaks. It's slightly more interesting with more data with one of these popular ones, but we can look at the dates and obviously this, because it was jewelry, is probably linked to holidays and so on. But I can click on multiple ones here and see several, and I can again zoom in on a certain part of the graph. I can double click to go back. If I am zoomed in, I can scroll left and right simply by dragging the pointer across. So we're giving you quite a lot of extra functionality with the graphs, and that zoom and move functionality applies to all charts that are in this form, the line charts. With that, I'm going to jump out and switch back to our PowerPoint slide, because I just want to get some feedback from you guys as to what you think about the feature. So Matt, can you just do a little poll? And it would just be good to know what people are thinking about these types of things. I know, some of these features, we've been asked for. So I know, for certain customers that they're very, very important. That may not apply to you, of course, but it'd be good to see if there is some kind of general interest in some of this stuff.
Yeah, so right now, for those that have voted, most of them are between great, could use most of this, and they like it, and there's some features they would use. A couple thinking that it looks good, but it's not really relevant for them.
Yeah.
But most are thinking it's great, and they could use most of this.
Good. Okay. Well, thank you. Thanks for your input. And please, if you've got any comments on any of this, there is a little survey that pops up at the end of the webinar, and just let us know. If you think it's close but not quite what you wanted, let us know. So the final thing I wanted to mention is that EasyAsk has a replacement for Storefront, and this is a comprehensive B2B platform. It will do everything that Storefront can, plus a lot more. It will have product management, lots of reporting, integration, obviously, import and export, and key, it's going to be easy to use. Unlike Storefront, which I know for many of you is a nightmare to do simple things with, this is going to be very easy to use. We're going to create a tool that will easily migrate your data from your Storefront system, should you choose to go this route. And of course, it will be integrated with your Infor ERP. It will allow you to have a really modern interface, and you can create a mobile-friendly interface with this, and it's template-driven. More information coming soon. This was just a kind of watch this space type slide, because this is quite an exciting project for EasyAsk, and we know many of you are thinking, what am I going to do after Storefront? We hope when you see this that it will be a no-brainer to switch over. Getting the best from EasyAsk is really important with what you've got now. And so if any of the stuff that you've seen, whether on this webinar, previous webinars, you've got questions about, do just get in touch with us. We're happy to jump on a call to go through anything in detail with you. It's our goal to make you guys really successful. And to that end, we created the EasyAsk Direct program. And this is something which in my view is a no-brainer for most people, because it actually costs you less than paying in for your Storefront support. It's available to any Storefront customer. We give you better support. We've got some great guys in our support team now who have got years of experience of working with Storefront. We give you the latest version of EasyAsk. So that will currently be version 16, but obviously at the end of the year, that will be version 18 as well. You'll get a Studio license, so you have full access to Studio, full access to all the analytics. And of course, we'll make sure that search as you type is working on your site. That's the advanced autocomplete that most people find increases business. We'll train you, we'll run concierge level support sessions with you. And if you want, we can also get somebody to reskin the site for you to make it mobile friendly. that was my shameless plug for the direct program, but it's not really shameless because it's really important now that you get your commerce sites working really well. You know, COVID has kind of accelerated the move to online for a lot of people. And of course, you know, the older folks that previously always used to fax you orders and so on, they're gradually getting replaced by the younger folks who expect to be able to see an Amazon-like interface to work with you. So it's going to happen. Let's do it sooner rather than later. And finally, just a bit of feedback. If you've got any useful feedback for us, please put it on the survey form. We will be running more Lunch and Learn webinars starting in September, and I've got a slide which just mentions some of the topics. But if you want to suggest something, please put it in on that survey. And with that, Matt, I'm just going to ask, if we've got any questions that people have put in in the past 20 minutes or so.
Yeah, and we still got time for a few more. We got a couple in the works here, but if you guys got any others, please feel free to put them in the question box. So first question, Robin, is what extra training, if any, is needed to use version 18?
Okay, so we will run sessions for anybody who upgrades to version 18. That we probably need less than an hour to show you the new stuff. But of course, if you feel that you want to have a full training, then we're more than happy to do that as well, because we know, we do train a lot of people, and I know we give you a lot of information, and some of it is really just helping you to remember that there is a way of doing something, and most people forget exactly how to do it, and so they need refresher courses and so on. We're more than happy to do that, but certainly for version 18, we'll be doing some version 18 webinars that will kind of go through in some detail how to do certain things in Studio, and we're happy to do that on a one-to-one basis as well.
Okay, next question. Will version 18 work with my old storefront, or do I need to upgrade first?
No, if version 16 runs with your storefront, then version 18 will run with it as well. And in fact, I think I could probably safely say if version 14 runs with your storefront, 18 will run as well. We do like, if possible, to not jump too many versions in one upgrade. But yeah, we will certainly be making sure this is backwards compatible as with previous versions. Obviously, you'll probably want to do your own testing, so we're more than happy to set up a test environment for you so that you can prove to yourself that it works. But of course, it's usually backwards compatible, and that doesn't mean that you get the new features immediately, because some of the features require work on the front end. So, for example, landing pages requires some code on the front end to make the landing page appear. But if you're not using that, then it's totally it just won't have any effect whatsoever. So EasyAsk is always backwards compatible.
And if we decide to upgrade to version 18, how long will it take to get it up and running?
So I guess from the time when we release it, usually we can schedule one of our guys to do the upgrade for you. The only thing that would delay it is how long do you want to spend testing it, because you would typically set up a version 18 in parallel with your live version, and then just do some testing just to prove to yourself that you're happy with it, and then it's simply a case of reconfiguring your storefront to point to the new version. You can continue to keep the old version there for as long as you want, and you can still build that every night in parallel with the version 18 if you wish. So if you want to have a fallback, you can do that. Most customers typically only want to do that for a week or at most 2 weeks, and then they simply drop the old version and just continue with the new version. But from our standpoint, it's it's really half a day's work. We will log into your system and do it for you. And it's then how long do you want to spend testing before you flick over to make it live?
All right. I think that is, I don't see any other questions coming in. So that is it for the questions. Thank you, everyone.
Okay, thank you. And I mentioned the Lunch and Learn is going to be starting again in September, and the sort of topics that we've got suggested so far are things like why EasyAsk search can help in a B2B context. We'll be looking at all of the features related to B2B, like restricted catalogs, dynamic pricing, all of those sort of complications of B2B, and we're going to do a webinar on that. Decoding those short product descriptions. I know many of you have descriptions for your products which are coming from the ERP in a not particularly friendly form. They're full of acronyms and symbols that mean something to somebody, but not everyone knows what they are. And so we can show you how you can actually decode those and make life much easier for your end users. And finally, cleaning out your old dictionaries to improve search. It's something that we regularly do with the customers that we work closely with, because you've been using your EasyAsk system within Storefront for so many years. Things have accumulated, things which aren't necessarily correct because they were done by perhaps previous staff who weren't trained and so on. And we found that by cleaning out these dictionaries, we actually improve search and performance. So we're gonna do a webinar on that, and as part of that, we'll hand out some tools that allow you to kind of look at those entries in your dictionary, things that you wouldn't normally see in Studio. If there's any other subjects you think you'd like us to cover, as I say, let us know, because we're always open to suggestions. We want this to be useful for you guys, not just what we think you want to know. So these things aren't set in stone until a bit closer to the time. So with that, I wish everybody a really good summer, assuming we're all in the Northern Hemisphere, which I assume we are. Have a great summer and good vacation, and we'll be speaking with you all again in September.
Robin, thank you very much, and everyone who attended the webinar, we appreciate your time as well. We'd love for you to get more actively involved with us, take control of your B2B site. It's the first step to making dramatic changes to your site capabilities, and it's well worth the time. Also, please fill out the survey that pops at the end of this webinar, as this gives us the best information for future webinar ideas. Thank you guys again for your time, and have a great day.
Thank you, Matt.